Have you ever experienced that moment when you rise from your chair during an ordinary day and suddenly everything around you begins to spin? Perhaps you have felt your knees become unsteady, your sight become foggy for just a moment, and you needed to hold onto something nearby thus to maintain your stability. You are certainly not the only person going through this experience. This is actually one of the most frequent concerns I encounter from individuals who are over 60 years old. Why am I experiencing dizziness without any warning? Or even more concerning, why do I feel as though I might collapse even when I am simply standing in one place? Here is the reality that people rarely discuss openly. This is not always simply about advancing age. No, in numerous situations it represents something more profound, something that can actually be prevented. When you truly comprehend what is actually occurring, you can genuinely recover your stability, both in a physical sense and mentally as well. In this video, we are going to reveal the genuine reasons behind why you experience dizziness or feel unsteady after reaching 60 years of age. I am not only discussing the typical causes that everyone mentions. I will guide you through some surprisingly frequent, but often ignored triggers, such as silent nerve deterioration, sneaky drops in blood pressure, or even minor changes occurring inside your inner ear that can completely disrupt your entire sense of balance. More significantly, I will share with you simple, general practices you can begin today right from your living room to feel more grounded, confident, and steady with each step you take. Stay with me until the conclusion, because one of the most straightforward solutions is something so fundamental you have probably been doing it throughout your entire life but might be performing it incorrectly. If anything in this video sounds familiar to your experience, if you have ever felt the room spinning or your legs trembling without any warning, I want you to leave me a comment below. Tell me about your personal story, because here on Balance Health, we are creating a community where experience truly matters and no one is left to figure this out by themselves. So take a deep breath, settle into your most comfortable chair, and let us begin from where most people never consider looking. Let us discuss what is occurring inside your inner ear and how just a small shift in that area can literally turn your world completely upside down. You would be amazed at how many people over 60 years old have difficulty with balance. Not because their legs have become weak, but because of something happening deep within the ear. That is correct, not related to hearing, but to balance itself. Inside your inner ear, there exists a small system called the vestibular system. It functions like your body's internal compass. It quietly monitors your head movements, detects gravity, and transmits signals to your brain to keep you upright and stable. But here is the problem. Just like eyesight and memory, this system can deteriorate with advancing age. When it does, even simple actions like turning your head, looking up quickly, or rolling over in bed can make you feel dizzy or lose your balance. One of the most frequent causes is something called benign paroxysmal positional vertigo or BPPV. It sounds complex, but it is actually quite simple. Imagine small crystals in your inner ear that are supposed to remain in their proper place. Over time, they can become dislodged and drift into areas where they should not be. When that occurs, your brain becomes confused, thinking you are spinning even when you are perfectly motionless. That is why you might experience a sudden rush of dizziness just from bending forward to tie your shoes or turning your head too quickly while watching television. You are not imagining this sensation. According to the Vestibular Disorders Association, BPPV is the primary cause of vertigo in older adults. It does not appear on regular blood tests, it does not cause pain, but it quietly interferes with your balance. If left without treatment, it can make everyday movements feel unsafe. You might think, but I have never experienced this before. That is exactly why it catches people completely off guard. As we age, the structures inside our ear become more delicate. Even a minor bump, a sudden head movement, or just sleeping with your head in an unusual position can cause those crystals to shift. Once they do, the feeling of spinning or floating can last anywhere from seconds to minutes, even if you are not moving at all. The encouraging news is that you are not stuck with this condition. There are simple head movements performed gently at home or with a trained therapist that can reposition those crystals and bring things back to normal. They are called canalith repositioning maneuvers. In fact, for many seniors, these techniques provide relief in just 1 or 2 sessions. No medication, no surgery, just gentle guidance that restores your sense of balance. Now, why does this matter so much? Because if your vestibular system is not functioning properly, your body begins to compensate in unhealthy ways. You might walk more stiffly, avoid turning quickly, or even avoid walking altogether out of fear of falling. Over time, that leads to muscle loss, anxiety, and social withdrawal. So by restoring balance in your inner ear, you are not just fixing dizziness, you are also rebuilding your freedom to move, live, and feel like yourself again. Coming up next, we will explore another silent troublemaker, one that hides in your bloodstream and can make you feel lightheaded the moment you stand. It is not dehydration, and it is not fatigue. It is something your doctor might have mentioned once, but most people still overlook. Let us discuss what happens when your blood pressure takes a sudden drop and how to prevent it before it sends you crashing down. Have you ever had that strange sensation the moment you stand up? Like your head becomes light, your vision dims for just a second, and your knees feel somewhat uncertain? You pause, wait for it to pass, and maybe even hold onto the wall, just in case. It is not always dramatic, but it is enough to make you wonder what is happening with me. This is not just about aging bones or tired legs. It is something far more subtle that happens right inside your blood vessels, and it catches many people off guard after 60. You see, when you are lying down or sitting, your blood flows easily to your brain. But the moment you stand, gravity pulls your blood downward into your legs, your belly, your feet. That is perfectly normal. In a younger body, the heart and blood vessels immediately react. They tighten up, the heart beats a little faster, and pressure is maintained so your brain does not miss a beat. But in an older body, that response is not as quick. The blood vessels might not tighten as well. The heart might not pick up the pace right away. In that brief window, just a few seconds, your brain gets less blood than it needs. That is when the fog hits, or the black spots, or that sudden feeling of I need to sit down before I fall. This condition has a name, orthostatic hypotension. Ortho means upright. Hypotension means low blood pressure. Together they describe a sudden drop in blood pressure when you go from lying or sitting to standing. It is not rare. In fact, it affects a large number of people over 60, many of whom do not even realize it. The symptoms can be subtle at first. Maybe you feel fine most of the day but notice a bit of wooziness after waking up. Or you go to the bathroom at night and feel slightly off balance. Over time, these moments might become more frequent or stronger. What makes it so dangerous is how easily it can lead to a fall. One dizzy step, one shaky moment, and suddenly you are on the floor. There is also another layer to this. Certain medications, especially ones prescribed to manage high blood pressure, can lower your overall blood pressure so much that standing becomes a challenge. What was meant to protect your heart might now be confusing your circulation. It is a delicate balance, and one that often gets thrown off when multiple medications stack up or when your body changes faster than your prescription does. It is not just about medication either. Other hidden triggers like long periods of sitting, heat, or simply not having eaten in a while can set the stage for a drop in pressure. The body's natural reflexes, which once adjusted in an instant, now lag behind just enough to cause trouble. Many seniors do not talk about these moments. They brush them off as just getting up too fast or a bad night's sleep. But if these episodes happen often, they are worth paying attention to because behind that brief spell of lightheadedness might be a very real problem. One that has little to do with weakness and everything to do with how your body is trying to keep up with changes in position. If you have ever had that strange hollow feeling in your chest when you stood too quickly, or caught yourself swaying at the sink, then you already know how disorienting it can be. In a moment, we will explore something else just as quiet, just as underestimated. Except this one does not come from your heart or your blood vessels. It comes from your nerves, specifically from something that might be missing in your daily diet without you even realizing it. Let us take a closer look at what happens when your body runs low onto essential vitamins and how that can quietly steal your stability one step at a time. Now let me ask you something. Have your legs ever felt like they just do not listen to your brain anymore? Like your feet are there, but you cannot quite feel them the way you used to. Maybe you found yourself shuffling a bit more than walking. Or sometimes when you close your eyes to wash your face or shampoo your hair, you suddenly feel off balance. You might blame it on aging, maybe even arthritis or old injuries. But what if I told you there is another reason, one that is often missed even by doctors? It all starts deep inside your nerves. As we age, our ability to absorb certain vitamins declines. Two of the most crucial ones for keeping our nerves sharp and our balance steady are vitamin B12 and vitamin B1, also known as thiamine. These two are not just good to have, they are essential. They are like the wiring that keeps the communication between your brain, your spine, and your feet clear and fast. Without enough of them, that connection gets fuzzy. It is like trying to listen to the radio with static in the background. You might hear something, but it is not clear, and it does not come through fast enough. For your body, that can mean delayed reaction, poor coordination, and a growing sense of imbalance. Vitamin B12 plays a key role in keeping your nerves healthy, especially the long ones that stretch all the way down to your feet. When levels get too low, the first signs often show up in your legs, not in your memory, not in your digestion, but in the way you move and walk. You might feel tingling, numbness, or a sense that your feet are padded, like walking on cotton. Slowly, over time, your ability to detect where your body is in space begins to slip away. That is when people start to sway, trip more easily, or feel like their legs just are not doing what they are told. Then there is vitamin B1. Thiamine. This one is especially sneaky. When it is low, it does not just affect balance. It can impact your energy, your reflexes, even your mood. In older adults, a deficiency in thiamine can lead to a kind of peripheral neuropathy where the nerves in the legs and feet start to lose function. It often begins with subtle symptoms. Your legs might feel heavy or awkward, or you notice it takes more effort to climb the stairs. But left unchecked, it can grow into a real problem that makes walking feel unstable and even unsafe. Here is the most troubling part. You might not feel sick at all. No fever, no pain, just a quiet creeping change in how steady you feel when you move. That is what makes these deficiencies so dangerous. They are silent. Unless someone connects the dots, they can go on for months or even years before they are spotted. Studies have shown that a significant percentage of seniors have undiagnosed B12 or B1 deficiencies, often because of changes in digestion that come naturally with age, or because of medications that interfere with absorption. In many cases, the symptoms get mistaken for normal aging or blamed on unrelated conditions. But the truth is, when your nerves do not get the nutrients they need, it becomes harder and harder for your body to stay balanced, literally. So, if you have ever wondered why your feet feel numb when you walk, or why you sway more when you close your eyes, or why climbing stairs suddenly takes more focus than it used to, this may be the missing piece of the puzzle. Now that we have looked inside your ears, your blood pressure, and your nerves, let us zoom out for a moment and talk about something even more familiar, your everyday habits. Because, as it turns out, some of the small things we do every day without thinking might quietly be making everything worse. Sometimes it is not just what is happening inside your body. It is what you do every day without even noticing. Habits that seem harmless in your 40s or 50s can quietly become troublemakers after 60. Think about those long hours sitting in one spot. Maybe you are watching television, reading the newspaper, or chatting with a friend. Then you suddenly stand up, expecting your body to move with you. Except it does not. For a second, your head swims and your legs hesitate. That quick change catches your system off guard, especially when your circulation has slowed from being still too long. What about water? You might not feel thirsty like you used to. It is easy to forget that just because you are not sweating or active, your body still needs hydration. But when you are even slightly low on fluids, your blood pressure can dip more easily, especially when standing. That quiet dehydration can make the dizziness worse without you realizing it. Skipping meals can have the same effect. A missed breakfast might not feel like a big deal, but for older adults it can send your blood sugar into a slump. That low energy, the shakiness, the faint feeling, it does not just come from being tired. Sometimes it is your body signaling that it is running low on fuel. Let us not forget the medications either. Many seniors take blood pressure pills or heart medications. Taken the wrong way or without a check-in from the doctor, they can push your pressure to low, especially when combined with a light meal or an empty stomach. Even being still too often slowly chips away at the strength in your legs and the sharpness of your balance. The less you move, the less your body remembers how to adjust when you do. Each of these habits might seem small, but over time they quietly make your body more sensitive, more vulnerable to that lightheaded feeling or sudden unsteadiness. Luckily, you are not stuck there, because in the next part, we will look at small practical changes you can make every day to feel stronger, steadier, and safer in your own body. If you have been feeling like your balance is not quite what it used to be, or that dizzy spells are becoming part of your day, the first thing I want to say is you are not alone and you are not powerless either. Small practical changes can make a real difference, even if you have been dealing with these issues for months or even years. For many older adults, the answer starts with something as basic as hydration. Your body needs enough fluid to keep your blood pressure steady, especially in the morning. Just 1 or 2 glasses of plain water after waking up can help reduce that foggy lightheaded feeling you might get when standing. It is simple, but it works because your circulation depends on volume, and volume depends on water. The way you move also matters more than you might think. If you have been sitting for a long time, whether it is reading, watching television, or talking with a friend, take a moment before standing. Let your legs stretch. Maybe shift your weight a bit in your seat, then rise slowly. This gives your blood pressure time to adjust and gives your balance a fighting chance. If your steps have started to feel less steady, your body might be telling you it needs a little support, not from equipment, but from movement. Easy exercises like standing on one leg near a counter, gently walking heel to toe in a straight line, or even just lifting your heels a few times each day can help train your muscles and nerves to respond better. These movements do not require a gym or fancy clothes, just a few minutes and your attention. What you eat also plays a role. Foods rich in B vitamins like eggs, fish, and beans support the nerves that help your legs feel the ground. If food alone is not enough, talking to your doctor about supplements may be the next step. Balance is not about doing something dramatic. It is about noticing the little things. The water you drink, the way you stand, the strength in your legs. These are the tools that can help you feel more stable, more confident, and more in control of your own body. Again, if you have made it this far, I want you to take a deep breath and remind yourself of something important. Feeling dizzy or unsteady does not mean you are broken. It does not mean you are weak. It certainly does not mean you have to accept it as a normal part of getting older, because what we have uncovered today is not just the cause of dizziness. It is a pathway back to confidence, back to walking across the room without hesitation, back to standing tall without gripping the furniture, back to trusting your own steps again. You do not need to change your whole life overnight. That is not how real change works. But if you start with one small thing, a glass of water in the morning, a few seconds of stillness before standing, a mindful moment to feel your feet, you have already taken the first step. Your body is wiser than you think. It is not giving up on you. It is simply asking you to slow down, to listen, and to support it in ways that truly matter. If this video gave you even one helpful idea, one insight that made you say, "That sounds like me," then I would love to hear about it. Leave a comment below and share your experience. You never know who else might be reading and feel a little less alone because of your story. Of course, if you found this helpful, do not forget to tap like and subscribe to Balance Health. We have more videos coming. Gentle advice, real solutions, and stories that remind you that you are still strong, still growing, and still in control of your health, one step at a time.